In this week's episode, we are going to look at a way that you can get equity-like returns outside of the stock market. What if you could get returns that mimic the market but have no fees, no chances of losses, and allow you to change what your allocations are every single year? We're going to discuss that and how it works today. Let's roll.
Welcome to the Safe Money Retirement Show with your host, certified financial fiduciary, Tim Wood. Tim is a retirement and income planning expert, best-selling author of Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success, member of the exclusive Ed Slott Master Elite IRA Advisor Group, and founder of SafeMoneyRetirement.com. Tim uses an education-first approach with clients nationwide to ensure they understand their choices in planning their own safe money retirement. Tim focuses on wealth management, retirement income, tax and long-term care planning, and asset protection and growth strategies. And now, from the Safe Money Retirement Studio in Johnson City, Tennessee, your host, Tim Wood.
Thank you for joining me this week. I'm Tim Wood, host of the Safe Money Retirement Show. I'm a certified financial fiduciary that specializes in asset and retirement protection and income planning. One of the questions that I get asked by far most often is, Tim, what can I do to still get returns that mimic the returns that I'm getting in the market, but get me away from all of that risk? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Some of y'all that have read my book already know what I'm going to talk about. If you haven't, there are plans out there, and I'm going to explain how they work in detail that allow you to get equity-like returns outside of the stock market. So that's what we're going to get into today. But first, do you already have your copy of Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success? If not, why not? We will send you a copy absolutely free with no charge and no obligation so you can make a plan that works specifically for your situation. In this book, you're going to learn what options there really are and what you can do to help yourself plan your own safe money retirement. Give us a call right now. We'll send you a copy absolutely free. It's 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233, or just log right onto our website at safemoneyretirement.com and register for your book there. So is it possible, really possible, to get equity-like returns outside of the stock market? And I'm not talking about equity-like returns like in a CD or something like that, or even in the insurance world that y'all have heard me talk about before, a MIGA, which is basically the insurance company's version of a CD. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are fine. Those are great. They give you a fixed percentage for a fixed period of time. And I mean, they're great. I do a lot of them. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone that wants something that when the market goes up, they've got the potential to have a really good year. When the market goes down, they may not make any, but they won't lose any. That's what people are wanting. They're wanting equity-like returns, but they're wanting to be outside of the stock market so they don't have to worry about that market risk. They don't have to worry about something completely out of their control, just derailing and just totally destroying what they've got planned for retirement. Like what happened to my dad. Those of you that have read my book, you know the story of my dad. Within 4 years, he retired in 2000. Within 4 years, he lost over 75% of his retirement because he was in one company stock, which went way down. Plus, he was taking withdrawals at the same time, got into that retirement death spiral, had to go back to work. That's what people want to make sure doesn't happen. Now, if you're much younger, you've got plenty of time. Your time horizon gives you plenty of time to recoup any kind of a major event or a major downturn in the market. But if you are at or near retirement, you might not have the time to get the money back if you lose it. Y'all hear me talk about this all the time. Easy numbers. If you have $100,000 in an account, you lose 30%, you're now down to 70. People say, oh, well, it'll come back 30%. Okay, great. Let's go up 30% from 70. Well, that doesn't take you all the way back up, does it? That takes you to 91. You actually need between 42 and 43% to recoup a 30% loss. You need 100% to recoup a 50% loss. That is the market math, and that's what people want to get away from. So, what can we do? What are our real options? The best option I know of that's an equity-like return is a product called a fixed indexed annuity. Fixed indexed annuity. These are issued by top-rated life insurance companies, and these plans allow you every single year to choose how you want your money to grow for that coming year. So the ones that I do a lot, the plan itself is a 10-year plan. But every single year you can do what's called reallocation, and you can choose where you want your money to be allocated during that year. And you've got multiple options. For example, the fixed rate would be one option. How much money do you want to put into the fixed rate? And that's normally what I tell clients. That's the first thing that we work on when we're doing their reallocation every single year. Step number one, how much do you want to put into the fixed rate? So they say, well, I don't know. How much do I want to put in? The way that I describe that is, well, what's your confidence that the market is going to do great? If you think the market's going to do great, you don't need to put any in the fixed. Because in these plans, you can put it wherever you want. You can put it in the fixed. You can put it against what the S&P does. You can put it against any of the other indexes. There's a whole list of them, and they vary by product. So if there's a specific index you want, we can probably find a product that has it. And how it works, they don't actually invest in the index. They are just paying you based on what the index does. That's how the insurance companies can do this. If the index goes down, you don't get any crediting, but you don't lose any in these products. These are fixed indexed annuities. In fixed products, there are no losses from anything in the market ever. That's all Safe Money Retirement does. So essentially every single year you're choosing between how much do you want in a fixed rate, how much do you want, for example, I'm just giving you an example, against the S&P, how much do you want against the Morgan Stanley. There's a bunch of different options. It can be 100% in one, it can be 10, 10, 10, 10. It can be however you want to mix it up every single year, and you can change that every single year. That is how you can get equity-like returns outside of the stock market. Now, the way these plans work, most of the time, you've got either what's called a cap rate or a participation rate. Real quick, what that means. A cap rate would be, for example, you might have a cap of, let's just say, 9% on the S&P 500. Well, if the S&P 500 goes down, you don't lose any. If it goes up between 0 and 9%, you're going to get that. So if it goes up 3, you're getting that. Goes up 8, you're getting that. But if it goes up 15, you're capped at 9, so that's going to be the top that you can get. That's how a cap rate works. Now, people say, well, why in the heck would I want to do that? Because you're totally getting rid of the bottom end. Yes, you're potentially giving up some of the top end, but you're totally getting rid of the bottom end. So the worst thing it's ever going to be on your statement any year is 0. So that's how that plan works. And then, of course, there's different indexes that have cap rates. I just said the S&P. There's also participation rates. I'm going to use the S&P again. So let's say the S&P participation rate is 50%. Let's just say it's 50%. Okay, well, a participation rate, simple definition, participation rate is nothing but the percentage of gains you get to keep at the end of a crediting period. So if it's a 1-year point-to-point crediting period, if your participation rate's 50%, if that index does 10%, you're going to get 5. If it does 20, you're going to get 10. Now, there's some that the participation rates are higher than 100%. There's some that the participation rates can be 150. I've even seen 200%. In that case, if you're in an index that does 7% and you've got a 200% participation rate, you get 14 credited to your account. That's how those things work. So when you're allocating in these plans that work like equity plans, every year you can choose between fixed rate, cap rates, and participation rates, and figure out how you want to mix it to give you the best chance for growth for the coming year. But no matter what happens, worst case scenario is 0. You're not ever going to lose any in any of these plans, but these plans can really show you a way to get equity-like returns completely outside of the stock market and all of the risk associated with it. Well, I must take a short break. This is Tim Wood, and you're listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show. Let's pause for some exciting announcements.
How would you like to significantly increase your happiness in retirement? Study after study has shown that happiness in retirement is directly linked to how much guaranteed income is received each month, not how many assets are owned. Having assets in retirement only brings on more stress because assets can be lost due to a market event, medical situation, government policy change, or any other unforeseen disaster. And as we age, lowering stress levels becomes vitally important to our health. Safe Money Retirement clients have found that the secret to happiness in retirement is having enough guaranteed lifetime income to cover all their expenses now and for their golden years to come. Call us today to plan for your happiest outcome in retirement with real guaranteed lifetime income and not worrisome if-come. Our number is 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233. You can schedule a free consultation with Tim to review your income plan or request a free copy of Tim's book for more details. Call us toll-free right now at 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233. You're listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show with your host, Tim Wood.
Welcome back to the Safe Money Retirement Show. I'm Tim Wood, a Safe Money Retirement Specialist. In today's case file, we're going to look at a unique situation. Now, Travis and Jennifer, we actually met online. They're out of state. And they attended a couple of my webinars, and we wound up getting together and doing a fact finder after we'd sent them out a copy of my book, and they kind of understood what I was doing. So we sat down for the fact finder, and we pretty much immediately determined they really didn't have any need for any kind of an income plan. Both of them had been very high earners throughout life. So they had very high Social Security amounts that they had just turned on because they had just turned 70. So they let their Social Security max out, turned it on, boom. And they had actually already also had pensions from their jobs that they had already turned on. So they had just turned on pensions and Social Security. They actually were making, it was within 10,000 of what they were making when they were working. So they were still making plenty of money, didn't have any concerns for income, but they still had other accounts. There was a 401k, there was an IRA, there was a TSP, and they were all still at risk. So they wanted an account that would give them equity-like returns, but without the risk associated with the stock market. So what we did was we looked at, y'all have heard me talk about before, fixed indexed annuities, and we put them into a plan, actually 3 separate plans that allow them to determine how they want their money to grow every year. So we opened up the 3 plans. The money was transferred directly from the 401, the TSP, and the IRA, no tax consequence to them because it was just a rollover, into the new plan. We, of course, went ahead and chose how they wanted their money to grow for the first year. And then every single year on their anniversary date, we'll get back together and determine, okay, for this plan right here, here's your options. What do we want to do for this coming year? And as far as options, I mean, you can put some of the money in a fixed, which is going to be this percentage. You can put it against the S&P. You can put it against the Morgan Stanley. There's a whole bunch of different indexes, and you can choose how you want your money to grow. Some of the indexes have caps. Some of them have participation rates. There's a lot of different ways, and I can explain each one of those to you individually when we sit down and talk. But basically, they left extremely happy because now they didn't have to worry about those 3 piles of money going poof in a market event. They knew those 3 piles of money were safe, they were protected, they were going to have a good chance of growth, and every single year they could choose themselves how they wanted it to grow. And just real quick, what I tell people is the first thing is figure out how much do you want to do in the fixed. Because then once you know that, then we know how much we have to divvy up between the different market indexes. So that's what I normally suggest to clients. Figure out how much you want in the fixed first. Then we can figure out the rest based on what market index we want to do. They left super happy. Just happy the fact that they knew that they weren't ever going to have any more losses, and that they had 10% access every single year to that money if they ever needed to take a little bit out just for a trip or whatever. They left totally happy and have actually already referred a couple other people to me. Now, how can this relate to you? Let's say you're in a very similar situation. Maybe you're listening or watching this right now and you don't need any more income. Tim, I got plenty of income. I'm good. Okay, awesome. That's a great problem to have, isn't it? It's not a problem. So what can we do then with whatever else you have to get you the most growth possible without ever having to worry about another market event? That's what we would be talking to you about if you've already got plenty of income. Is what do we want to do with this other money? And it doesn't necessarily have to be all of it. I'm not saying to pull everything out of the brokerage account. You don't have to do that. But the part that you want to make sure that you hold on to, that you don't have to worry about, even if there's a major market event that some have called for, you don't have to worry about it because yours are protected. The worst thing that's ever going to happen to you is no return. That's the worst case scenario in these, is you don't make any. Can't lose any. Worst return is 0%. So that may be something that we might want to look at for you when we sit down for your fact finder and see if you've already got enough income, great. Well, how do we want to have your money grow and protect it at the same time? And that's what we would do for you to make sure that you don't have to worry about losing everything and that you can have your own safe money retirement. Well, I'm about out of time, and I would like to thank you for listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show. If you're serious about your financial future, give me a call and together we'll get your retirement savings on the fast track to accumulate while reducing exposure to market loss. Thanks for listening, and until next time at the same time, I'm Tim Wood reminding you to stay safe so you can step into a secure future.
You've been listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show with your host, Tim Wood. Find out how to contractually guarantee that your income in retirement is guaranteed lifetime income and not if-come. Avoid any future market losses, plan for the potential of long-term care, and make wise planning choices so you can have the retirement that you deserve. Call us now for your free copy of Tim's best-selling book, Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success. Our toll-free number is 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233. Or log on to our site at safemoneyretirement.com for more information or to request your free book. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you online at safemoneyretirement.com. The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Obviously, by contacting us now, you are only taking the first step toward protecting your retirement. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified licensed insurance professional. It's important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Interest and other guarantees in annuity contracts are subject to the claims-paying ability of the insurance carrier that issued the contract. The tax consequences of annuity income should be considered with the help of a licensed tax professional. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice.